Delivery. We're getting ready for another 16-hour workday when we hear Cactus Dan's death rattle. A soft ripping, followed by a loud crash, and then a shrill beeping. That is, the rotted out cactus arm splits off and collides with the glass table lamp. That is, the Roomba attempts to ingest the glass shards and amputated cactus limbs before deciding not to bother. You watered him again, didn't you? My husband mumbles. He is only half dressed, his thinning hair sticking up in the back. He's never been what you'd call a morning person. Lately, he's not been an afternoon person, or even an evening person. To be honest, I'm no longer sure what kind of person he is. I tell him I'll clean it up and he sighs, shaking his head. Today of all days. In the living room, I find Dan sprawled flat behind the white leather couch, the base of his trunk gooey and puke yellow with rot. A few feet away, beneath the stainless steel coffee table, the amputated cactus arm lies tangled in the glass lamp shards. I bend over my felled cactus progeny, lovingly stroking his spikes. How could I not water Dan? I remember when he was first delivered with his gray parachute, how determined my husband and I both were, after our long line of other animal and vegetable casualties, to take good care of him. We had followed the guides precisely and set Dan on automatic water timer. We'd even named him after my father for good luck. Before he and Mom kicked the bucket, they were both really into gardening. Could nurse any poor plant back to life. This was the problem. Whenever I passed through the living room, whenever Dan looked especially sad or thirsty, I think of my father gardening in the summer, tearing dandelions and white clovers from the earth, plunging his arthritic hands deep into the soil. How could I resist giving Dan a little vitamin-enhanced water on days his soil looked especially dry? How could I resist caring, even when a part of me knew this would harm Dan? I grab a broom from the closet and sweep up the glass. Using oven mitts, I carry Dan's corpse to the kitchen and gently lower him into the trash. He's too tall for the bin. His head hangs over the side, glaring at me as I exit the room. Such a guilt trip. I walk back and deliver a quick little eulogy, simpler than Dad's. He was a great plant, the greatest plant, the best plant a gal could ever ask for, green and spiky and everything. And then I leave him to his eternal rest. An ominous feeling in my gut. Back in the bedroom, I dress in the company uniform. In the bathroom, I brush my teeth while my husband lathers his face with shaving cream. When we first married, I found this hilarious. The sumptuous Santa Claus beard set against his jet black hair and smooth cheeks. Now finally, the old man's beard is starting to match the wispy gray hairs and the gleaming dome-like forehead. With a straight razor, he shaves in smooth strokes, obliterating every last hair follicle. When he's done, he dries off and stares into the mirror, his sleek gray eyes darting across every waxy pore. Shit, he mutters, finally breaking his silence. On his right cheek, just below the nostril, a tiny drop of crimson. On the way to the company bus stop, I watch the Monday morning baby deliveries. The newborns float lazily in the breeze, their colorful parachutes shielding them from the gray clouds. On the colorless horizon, bits of canary yellow, avocado green, shimmering violet. Careful to avoid trees, the babies sway gently in the wind, their strapped-in bodies rocking back and forth before descending to the outdoor cradles below. One lands on our street, and a few more scatter down the block. High above, the tiny drones begin their journeys home. Mission accomplished. My husband places a warm hand on my shoulder, his voice gentler than it was earlier. I thought we agreed we weren't going to watch. That's right, I say, dropping my gaze and trying to make my voice sound a little brighter than I feel. Bad luck. We pass a few houses with the standard gray parachutes and then a cradle draped in peacock blue. The new parents are still in the front yard, their faces not exactly glowing, but relieved. Relieved because they have escaped the dreaded retirement centers for childless seniors. They're both in their early 50s, the standard age. I can't recall their names, though we've lived here for almost 2 years now. Congratulations, my husband shouts from the sidewalk. We didn't realize you were expecting. The new parents wave back, shouting something about the birthday party this evening. Because we're childless and nasty rumors have spread about how we kill everything we touch, my husband and I are considered neighborhood pariahs. We're only invited to these birthday parties out of obligation, and we only attend to avoid raising eyebrows. After my husband assures them we'll be there, oh, we wouldn't miss it for the world, the new parents return to the task at hand. The mother hugs the parachute-swaddled newborn to her chest, while the father puzzles over the Swedish instruction manual. He digs through the tote that accompanies each baby, filled with the necessary tools. Vials of oxytocin to promote parent-child bonding, digital activity trackers to ensure the parents aren't negligent, little jars of organic applesauce, pacifiers, diapers. I don't understand these little diagrams, the father says, turning to his wife as we board the driverless bus. Do you think we can get these, automated? With a soft groan, the bus accelerates. I stare out the window, watching as the neighbors recede into the fog. I still remember a time before, when everyone told their kids the same colorful stories of animals my parents had once told me. The stork, the birds and the bees. All those nights they lovingly read me fairy tales and myths. Now we tell our kids the truth. You were conceived in test tubes, grown in artificial wombs, and delivered by drone. You are each perfect, intentional, and desired. Not always for the right reasons. The bus turns down another residential street, and my husband reaches into his pocket for a small plastic bag of Coke Light. He taps me on the elbow, and I see it as a peace offering, a sign that he's put the morning's catastrophe behind him. I pinch a little white powder into my hand and inhale deeply, the numbness spreading from my nostrils to my throat. Ah, my favorite part of the day. I pass him back the bag and he does a bump too. Around us, others are pulling out their own bags. How are you feeling? He asks me. It's okay, I say. Not as good as the previous batch. He leans in, lowers his voice. No, about the meeting. We are meeting with HR today to discuss our third and final application for the womb benefit. Originally, we'd signed up for the womb to prove we wouldn't have kids at peak work age. It was the only way to get promoted. Now, we were applying to use the womb so we could retire early. The company tries to hide the statistics, but we've seen their reports, heard the rumors. For those suckers who don't retire early to raise children, life expectancy has declined dramatically. Those first few years of the kid crying and keeping you up at night, apparently nothing compared to another 20 to 30 years of Coke Light and 16-hour workdays. Because the non-compete clauses made it impossible to switch jobs and try with another company, this was our last chance. Funny thing is, neither of us can stand small children. I hate the noise and the snot and the stink. Their little grimy hands and the way you have to bend down to speak to them. He hates how their heads are too big for their bodies, the way they bounce around without breaking any bones. A little nervous, I admit, but confident, hopeful. That's good, he says, but I can hear the uncertainty in his voice. For the rest of the ride, we both stare out the window, not speaking but holding hands. Soon enough, we exit the highway, traverse the crowded downtown, and arrive at our glittering urban factory. 16 skyscrapers and glass elevators, all clustered around a stainless steel parachute sculpture. Here's where we part for the day. My husband to air traffic control, and me to missing packages.